Good evening, guys. That time of the week again. It's Saturday and it's 7 o'clock. On a wee bit earlier tonight. On with Paul yet again. We're going to be talking about all the things that's been happening at Celtic this week. I'm just going to kind of let a few people get into the live stream, just so nobody's seen it. How you doing, Paul, this week anyway?
Aye, good. Busy week, but but good. I'm glad to be back on. Yeah, can you hear me? Okay, I can hear you perfect. Yeah, busy, but good. Glad to get to Saturday and talk some football. So yeah, so I'm happy to be on. Glad it's the weekend. So yeah, good.
Yeah, as I say, the weather's been absolutely amazing this week. As you can see, I'm guiding traffic with my nose tonight, so I'm going to try and stay in the house, and so I'm not causing any car crashes. So again, it's been that kind of quiet week where I suppose no much has happened in the way of things. I know there's been a few things that's happened out with Celtic in terms of this European Super League, what the breakaway British League that we're talking about. So we're going to get through a few talking points tonight. So I've got a couple of teasers for you, a couple of questions. It's just who am I? See if anybody gets them. I think they're probably fairly easy. So if you know who it is, get in touch, message a page, just type in the comments bar. We'll be talking about the Rangers game, the Aberdeen game, basically a bad week for Celtic all round in terms of the Scottish Cup and the league. Manager drama, still no word on the manager yet. Eddie Howe is still dragging his heels. Roy Keane's been brought back into the frame, so we'll be talking about everybody that's been mentioned. European Super League, we'll be talking about what's so super about it, and we'll be talking about transfers. I've got a few names that I'm going to throw to Paul and see what you guys think as well. So let's start with I'll start with who am I, actually, just to get that up on a page. So this is obviously a former Celtic player. So who am I? I was born in Glasgow in December 1974. I made my Celtic debut in a draw with Hibs in 1993. I have played in the English Premier League and I was part of a team that stopped the 10. So if you know who that is, feel free to comment in, guys. As I say, you're live with Gaz and Paul. And so as I say, we're all over the socials along the bottom. Just search Celtic FC Appreciation and you'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, and now Spotify with the podcast. So yeah, Paul, let's get straight to it. Rangers last Sunday, what happened, mate?
It feels like every time I'm optimistic, that seems to be the case this morning, this season, that I'm optimistic. I said 3-0. I thought we would go and do it after the week before's performance. But it's just really frustrating. It just appears that there's some people there that just look like they don't have an interest, and some sloppy passing. We had enough chances to get back in that game. And it was really disappointing again not to be taking these chances. And what else can you say about Eddie's penalty other than, I could tell with just looking at him he wasn't going to finish it. He just had that look like, I would have gave Griffiths it. Griffiths would have fired that straight in the back of the net. But Griffiths done in 10 minutes much more work than probably Eddie did the full time he was on and the full 90 minutes. But just disappointing, I don't think Rangers are that good a team, and we're giving them, the basis to think they're miles ahead of us. In terms of performance, they are, but we could easily went the other way. So I've heard words like gutless and stuff like that, and I tend to agree with some of that. I need to show a bit of courage in that finishing touch, which he's been missing for so many games this year. So just disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you mentioned the word gutless. That's exactly how I described it. On Sunday, I thought it was so frustrating because I genuinely, like you, I felt they were there for the taking. I didn't think they had a great game, but they did what we didn't, and that was, being clinical. They stuck the ball in the back of the net when they had to. I thought Laxalt was just powder puff. I thought Kenny got shown up yet again in the big games. John Joe Kenny's a player that I've liked since he's been at Celtic, but when the big games have came around, he's. I don't want to say he's been found out because I don't think he's that bad. I don't think he's that bad a defender, and I probably would still kind of maybe give him a full season at the club. So, but I thought that had Greg Taylor started, it's all ifs and buts obviously at this time now, but if Greg Taylor had started, I think he would have gave you that bit more dig. I think he would have got further a lot better, and I think he would have been a lot more dangerous in the final third.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I was really disappointed when I seen the starting lineup and he wasn't in, because I thought him and Mo the week before linked up really well. He was dragging the defender out, causing Mo to run behind, and I thought that really worked well. And to bring Laxalt in, who just, didn't have a game at all, to be honest. I was disappointed that Taylor didn't get a start in that game.
Aye, it's I would say if there's a bright spark at all, then it's probably David Turnbull, and that's a push. I mean, I don't think he done anything spectacular, but he was the only one that seemed to be kind of trying to make anything happen. I thought Nathan Patterson and Joe Aribo had the freedom of the wing, with Laxalt, and as I say, they were just clinical on the penalty, I suppose. I mean, I'll say it before, I'll say it again. I didn't think it was a penalty. I thought it was very soft. I was very surprised we got it. Maybe because Rangers were 2-0 up and it was late in the game, I don't know. But I think it was a soft penalty, but we got the penalty, and I was really surprised with Griffiths' reaction, because he knows, he knows Eddie's a penalty taker. I don't know why he was kind of almost trying to put that added pressure on him. But Eddie stepped up, and I think every Celtic fan that I spoke to has said the same thing. He knew he was going to miss it, and if he had, Panenka'd it like he normally does, then obviously it goes in the back of the net. It looks like so,
yeah.
But just a powder puff penalty, and I think I didn't see the game on Wednesday. We're obviously going to get to the game on Wednesday, but I didn't see it, and I just thought probably Edwards' head is elsewhere, and maybe it would be the best thing to let him go, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, and definitely. It looks like you can tell the way he's playing, the way he looks. It's just for some reason he's not there. Maybe you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe he's had discussions. He knows he's on the way out, or anything else. But you can see. I was also disappointed, and then it came to the midweek game to see the starting lineup, and for me there wasn't enough change there, considering basically there's nothing left to play for other than the remaining games, trying to get them won, which we didn't on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, just going on to the Aberdeen game. I know it's going to sound like I'm just saying it because he had a good game, but I've been saying it for most of the season. Lewis Ferguson absolutely tormented us from what I've seen. I've only seen the highlights, but he seemed to kind of torment our defence, and I think he would be a player that I would definitely seriously be looking at for next season to bring into that midfield.
I probably think that's unlikely though, considering who he is. But I agree, he's a great player, and I think Brown gave away with the ball to him very easily in certain stages and in the most important part. But in that Wednesday night game, we had 23 shots, 23. Yeah. And 71% possession. So it's the same old not taking the chances. It shows that there's no confidence in the strikers or striker they're playing. So why are we having that many shots and not finishing them? Something needs to change up front for me.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. When you look at it, I was much like you when I seen the team lineup. I just thought, really, as you say, there's nothing to play for. I don't know why we were trying to put out a strong team. Maybe maybe because obviously he lost to Rangers, it was his first defeat as manager at Celtic, maybe he wanted to try and get a win under his belt again for his own sake rather than Celtic. I would have definitely been starting players like, Dembele, maybe even getting like some Montgomery on the bench, give him more of a chance kind of thing. And he should have turned to the kind of youth side of things and give it, even just the fringe players, like a Yeti, maybe drop Edward for try and play a Yeti and Griffiths up front, because these are the kind of players that's going to be here next season by all accounts. So this is, you need to try and build something for next year. I know he might not be here, but in terms of John Kennedy being in the dugout, but he still has to do the best of his ability. And I wasn't surprised at all with the scoreline. I thought we were very lucky, and in terms of the celebration at the end, Griffiths wheeling away, and I just thought, is there really a need to celebrate like that? I know he wasn't going OTT, but I think in that scenario, you score a goal, and I think he would have just walked away and just been like, aye, whatever, kind of thing, rather than wheeling away and almost delight that you grabbed the last minute equaliser against Aberdeen, a team that not so long ago we were thinking 5 and 6 past every time.
Yeah, I think it's more a personal thing for him. He was happy to get in there, and save the game, save a point, or whatever. So I think his celebration was just down to his own feelings rather than, it's a 1-0 draw. It's not a good result, but I think it was more to do with him, that he was extremely happy that he managed to get a goal and make a statement. To be honest, when he came on and Dembele came on, they really made a difference, and Aberdeen were struggling to cope with them. And we Dembele, we've not had Forrest on that right, and he came on, he'd done so much more than Christie. And he caused problems doing that side for Aberdeen. So there was a little bit of bright spark in there, and we should have won that with 23 shots. Should be putting some of them away. It's ridiculous.
100%. As I say, like you mentioned, Karamoko Dembele, he's not been given a chance in Celtic, and obviously when you look at it, I thought from what I seen, he seemed to link up well with Griffiths. He seemed to link up well with Turnbull. I think it was Turnbull was really unlucky. I think he cracked the bar from Dembele's assist. Ryan Christie's header was unlucky, cleared off the line by Ferguson. As I say, Griffiths with the late goal, it's totally justified that he's happy that he's scored for his own personal sake. And just to kind of touch on Lee Griffiths, I seen Derek Riordan's comments today that he believes that Lee Griffiths should be in the Scotland starting 11, never mind just the squad. I mean, do you think he's done enough, or do you think we just need to take a chance in the Euros with Griff?
I disagree with Ryan in terms he should be in the starting 11, but he should be in that squad, absolutely. He's one of the best finishers that play in Scotland, but Scottish finishers. You've had players like Ollie McBurney, who can't score for nothing. Like, had so many starts for Scotland. Griffiths has had his own problems and his own reasons that he's not been playing at Celtic, so it's unlikely to get called in for the Scotland squad. But if you're going away for the Euros to a camp, I would have him in there. I think he would benefit. It's the same. I don't want him to go from Celtic either. I want to keep him because he's a natural ability. But I think it will be his own choice whether it stays or goes. So.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I'm totally with you on the Ollie McBurney situation. I think the only positive that Ollie McBurney brings to that Scotland team is his height, probably, and the fact that he can maybe hold the ball up for maybe a Lyndon Dykes or a Shea Adams. But I totally agree that he should be in the squad at least, because I still believe he's got a finish in him. I still believe he could be dangerous for Scotland, and he should 100% be in ahead of Ollie McBurney.
Absolutely.
If I'm being honest. Yeah. I'm not just saying that because McBurney's a Rangers fan, but
I didn't even know that.
I don't believe. Well, this was a big kick up in the playoff games with Israel and Serbia, because he refuses. You'll see it when I point it out now that every time Scotland go to do the huddle before the game, he stands tall. He doesn't go in the huddle. And
that's silly, man.
For
absolutely
the
silly.
simple fact that Ryan Jack is right in the huddle, And he's a Rangers player. Do you know what I mean? This is a guy that's a Rangers fan. So I think that's ridiculous. And
absolutely,
I'm not just saying that he shouldn't be in the Scotland squad because of that. I think he shouldn't be in the Scotland squad because he's not a very good striker. I don't think.
absolutely.
I heard something ridiculous that Wolves already offer 15 million for him in the summer.
Waste of money.
Ridiculous amount of money down there. They're just throwing money about.
Yeah.
I seen a stat during the week for the Aberdeen game. Celtic never failed to score in 3 consecutive away matches. So at least we stopped the rot with the Lee Griffiths goal.
Yeah.
But that would have just been another
record
that we didn't want. You know, we're always about breaking records, and that's the kind of record you don't want to break.
Definitely.
Just to touch on something else I caught during the week was. Now, obviously, defending set pieces has never been our strength, but we've actually conceded against 6 teams this season from a near post flick on. It's resulted in goals galore. So, it was showing you footage against Rangers, against Lille, against Aberdeen, St Mirren, Sparta Prague, Ross County. It's the same move all the time. And teams have obviously just picked up on it that. If they whip the ball into the near post and they can get their head on it, we're hopeless at the back post kind of thing. I don't know if it's something you've noticed.
Yeah, I noticed in a few occasions that Taylor or Laxalt's had to cover that back post, and they've not done a very good job yet. And that's when it got highlighted to me. I can't remember what game it was, but Laxalt was on that back post and he got dragged away with the defender and it was a goal. I can't remember what game it was, but just as you said that came into my head. So that's absolutely, fact, definitely, no doubt.
It's something that, John Kennedy's labelled as a defence coach. I think we need to get a new defence coach in, to be honest. We've been absolutely rotten at defending from set pieces, and as I say, I'll send you a clip later on. It's unbelievable how many times it actually happens when you don't really realise it. Just to go back to the who am I? We've got a few comments as well. I think somebody said, John Shields says Tom Boyd. It's not Tom Boyd, I can tell you. Chris Hanratty on the performances against Rangers and Aberdeen says Gutless pathetic and downright heartbreaking. That mob think they're world beaters. I would totally agree. I think
100%.
100% getting above their station. I can only hope that St Johnstone provide a shock tomorrow night at Ibrox. You know what I mean? I don't see it happening. I think they'll probably get there this time, but I'd love to see them fail to make the Scottish Cup final. Edward Hassel, all right, trips. I say the same. Hope we get it right next season. Chris and Ratty says Ferguson would be a great signing. We all thought Judas would never sign for them. Listen, I don't care what your second name is. I look at I don't care what team you support or what team you're kind of related to. You've only got to look at Chris Burke, who grew up Celtic mad. All his family are Celtic fans. Went and played for Rangers, and you look at how well he's even still playing. He seems to be getting better wage, but I would 100% take I was going to say Derek Ferguson, Lewis Ferguson. I definitely wouldn't take Lewis Ferguson. I'd definitely take Lewis Ferguson 100%. I can see him in that midfield next season with David Turnbull and possibly Callum McGregor if he stays. And I think, as much as I don't want to fill the team with Scottish Premiership players, I just think we need to solidify the midfield, working it up front, and then obviously sort our defence first and foremost. But there's a lot of positions that need filled. In terms of just going on to the manager saga that keeps rolling on week by week. Eddie Howe, is he dragging his heels? Is he waiting for positions becoming available? There's a host of clubs that are going to be looking for managers in the summer. You've got Wolves, possibly Nuno Espirito Santo. He's possibly leaving in the summer. The Tottenham Hotspur job's up for grabs. I know Roy Hodgson's probably going to retire in the summer and leave Crystal Palace. Steve Bruce won't be there at Newcastle next season. Do you think he genuinely... Everything is okay. I know we talk about it, seem to be every week. But do you think everything's still okay, or do you think it's getting a wee bit worrying.
I've been saying it. This is the third week in a row. The longer this goes on, the less it's going to happen. So every week, and now we're another week, the third week, we've been talking about it, and I'm even less inclined at how it's going to join. But I'm no expert. As I said, I predicted Celtic to beat Rangers 3-0. That didn't happen, so don't go with my prediction. But but I don't see it happening. It's just really worrying. This is February. Lennon left, and it's now nearly May.
Yeah,
it's a joke, to be honest. Without being too harsh, it's just frustrating, absolutely frustrating. If Howe's going to come and there's something blocking it, get it done, get it sorted. They owe that to the fans at least. I believe also the TV deals and the managers, the thing that's holding up season ticket renewals coming out. I believe there's some deal with Sky that either is done now or very close to being done for Celtic to use Sky for their season pass. I reckon by the time the season comes around again, I think there will be some fans in, and I think that as you go on, it might get back, hopefully, to full capacity. So there's a couple of things I think is holding the management back, the announcement. But like I said, the longer it goes on, I don't think Howe's going to be the man. I've said that for 3 weeks now, so I'm still sticking with that.
I mean, I'm still. It's funny because, as I say, I'm still of the opinion that I think everything's probably okay. I think they would genuinely be actively looking elsewhere if everything wasn't okay. I don't get what the hold up is now. I don't get, as you say, this has been a few months. This has rumbled on for now. I think it seemed to have been an eternity ago that he was nearly in the door, and then all of a sudden he's not in the door. Roy Keane's been back in the frame. He's been mentioned. Obviously, Jose Mourinho, which we'll get onto, has been mentioned as well. And obviously, I've done a poll on the page today, which I was actually really surprised with the outcome, because I genuinely thought the Celtic fans would have voted in numbers to say no to Jose Mourinho. As it turns out, 70% of the Celtic fans on the page said an overwhelming yes to Jose Mourinho. Do you see this as being a true story? Obviously, it's been reported in Sky Sports that Celtic have approached them. Do you see it as fake news, or do you think there's some truth in
it? So, first of all, just before I say that, the only person that's guaranteed not to be at Celtic just now is probably John Kennedy, because if he was staying, it would be announced by now. So. But other than that, Mourinho, I was shocked to see that. I knew when he gets sacked there'd be some sort of link. That he said in the past that he would love to be at Celtic. I think it's very unlikely, to be honest, that he's going to go there, and just in terms of money, to be honest, that's the big reason. I think if Celtic could compete with some of the other teams or leagues in the world, in Europe, I think that could be a possibility, but I don't think it is. But I can say one thing: if Celtic have legitimately approached him, fair play. It's the ballsiest thing they've done for a few years. So we'll see what happens. I think Mourinho will be the manager before Howe. Well, there's my prediction.
Hopefully you're right for this one. As I say, I mean, I know obviously people will still remember Seville, and I've still got a wee bit of a rankle with that, obviously. But I think you've got to look at his honours that he's won in the game. I mean, just to read them out here. He's won 3 English titles with Chelsea. He's won 2 Champions League. He's won a UEFA Cup and a Europa League with Man United and Porto. FA Cup with Chelsea. 4 League Cups with United and Chelsea. 3 Spanish Cups with Real and Barca when he was coach with Bobby Robson in the 90s. 3 La Ligas. 2 Super Cups in Spain. 2 Serie A titles. An Italian Super Cup. 2 leagues in Portugal. 2 Portuguese League Cups. A UEFA Super Cup. 2 Portuguese Super Cups. 2 Charity Shields. And I think he's won countless managers of the year. It is an incredible. I don't think we'll ever manage to get a manager that is so decorated, and I think it would be bigger than Brendan Rodgers. I know Rodgers came in and delivered 7 trophies, but
absolutely,
I think this would be Real Madrid territory. I think this would be. Imagine if the fans were allowed in to the stadium again, like if they announce them. I think that you could fill that stadium. To be honest, if he gets announced, it would be incredible. You know, Chris Henratty says he thinks Howe has played Celtic. Only Eddie Howe knows that. Do you know what I mean? And Dermot Desmond, we get told nothing. And as you say, the season ticket renewals, they are dangerously close. And you know, you just need to. There needs to be a wee bit more communication. Somebody says today, Dominic Mackay needs to come out in front of a camera and talk to the Celtic supporters and just almost reassure them. It doesn't need to tell us who's coming in, when they're coming in, but he just needs to assure the fans that it's getting taken care of and it will be announced in due time. Do you know what I mean?
No, 100%. I'm kind of surprised he's come in and he's not come out and said anything. But you never know. He might have come in and decided to go for Mourinho. You know, so fair play if that's the case. And just talking about Mourinho, I've got so many Rangers fans that are pals and they love Mourinho because his time at Chelsea. So I would love maybe at Celtic just for the sake of a wind up.
Oh, listen, that would be Sky would eat it up as well. Chatting, you would mention Sky off air as well.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, but yeah, Mourinho's decorated, and you have to look and say he after Alex Ferguson, he's if not him and Pep Guardiola, the two most successful managers, and I agree with some of his tactics, and recently maybe some people say that he's not moved on with the modern game, but he knows how to win games, how to win titles, and my only worry with him coming to Celtic would be budget-wise, So you need to be a good bargain hunter when you're a Celtic manager or coach or in recruitment. You need to find talent that's not going to cost an arm and a leg because you don't have it. So that's the only thing that would concern me, maybe worry me a wee bit about him. But I think it's unlikely it's ever going to happen. But it's good to get a bit of press out there, and maybe that's why Celtic done it.
Aye, I mean, as I say that, I think it's a wee bit of fake news for Dermot Desmond and the PR people at Celtic. I don't believe that this is going to happen or this is true. I think for a manager that can easily spend 300 million without blinking, going to a club that he'll potentially only be able to spend 3 million maybe at a time, I think it's highly unlikely. I'll throw a name out at you, Steve Clarke. Obviously, he's going to be busy with Scotland in the Euros. He's a name I heard on the Go Football show that he could possibly come and take charge after the Euros. Is that a risk, or do you think it could work in terms of our favour?
I mean, as much as I like Steve Clarke, and he's done a great job at Kelly, obviously, and he's doing good with Scotland. And even in Scotland, sometimes I get frustrated with Steve Clarke. In terms of how they sets the team up, he's very good at making sure you don't lose. It's that attacking, tactics and stuff that's sometimes missing, and I think he relies on some of the players' individual qualities to kind of push that on another level. But he's made Scotland a really good team, it's best Scotland team for years. It's very difficult to beat, but for me, coming into Celtic, I think it's a different job from the Scotland job. I think you have to go out there and go on the front foot, and have trust in your defence, which we don't currently have, which is important. For you to enable you to attack and be on the front foot, you need to have that trust in the defence. I don't think that's part of his skill set. That doesn't mean he's not a great manager or coach, of course, but not for me. Steve Clarke for Celtic, not for me. I don't think.
No, I mean, I like Clarke as well. I like what he's done with Scotland, and he's not been blessed with strikers that can score 20 and 30. This is obviously playing for your country, and not many players, unless you're playing for like Germany, Spain, Italy, France, you don't get players that score double figures a lot for your country. And obviously, when he's had to work with people like Stephen Fletcher, Ollie McBurney. It's no ideal. I know Chris Ibbelino for a while. I know he came up with him, but we all remember that miss against Norway. Listen, Scotland's never had an abundance of strikers, but what he has done is, as you say, he's made Scotland hard to beat. He's made them hard to break down, and maybe that's what he could bring to Celtic, because that's what we need to do. We need to stop conceding goals, but we also need to score a lot of goals, and he has to find that fine balance that he found at Kilmarnock. That he can, it's not about, listen, let's not concede any goals, but we need to make sure that we're winning games every week, because obviously with the way Rangers are, they're not going to be dropping many points. I don't know next season. So as I say, possibly, but I think it's a massive risk in taking Stevie Clarke if he's coming in after Euros, because I think he'll have less than 4 weeks before the start of the new season. He'll already be in Champions League qualifiers, if I'm right in saying.
Yeah.
So that's a massive risk. Chris says we wouldn't concede a lot of goals under Clarke, but too negative. Yeah, I totally agree. I think he might be just too negative for Celtic. Whether we go for a European coach, I don't know. But as I say, hopefully by next Saturday, we'll have an update on it. Just to touch on the Who Am I? It's born in Glasgow, December 74. Made his Celtic debut in a draw with Hibs in 93. Played in English Premier League and was part of the team that stopped the 10. Nobody else has commented on it. Nobody's guessed. Paul, any ideas?
No. I did have somebody which you know about, but yes, that's wrong. I'll need to have a wee think. Come back to me in a couple of minutes. I think I'll have a wee think.
So we're getting on to Super Leagues now. The furore, how a week changes in football. Last Sunday the news broke during the Man United Burnley game that the top six, as it were, in England were breaking away to join a European Super League with teams like Inter and AC and Juventus and I think Barca and Madrid. So in terms of, did you think it was going to fall apart as quickly as it did?
No, I was a wee bit shocked, to be honest, and I don't know. There's not many people who would probably agree with me, but I'm kind of glad for the fans' perspective. The league, I understand everybody hitting out so passionately about it. I just think sometimes it's a wee bit hypocritical down in England. The FA need to take responsibility slightly for that, because they've allowed these billionaires to come in and run football clubs, and and the greed is there. There's players on astronomical wages. There's billionaire owners that got millions to spend, hundreds of millions of pounds, and the FA have allowed them to come in. So they have to take slightly blame it. The people are greedy. The English league is greedy. The English league players are greedy. It's all greed, and they've done it the wrong way. They're silly. They could have approached the UEFA and created some sort of, Super League that, maybe the top four in the Champions League play in the season after, and there's an up and down. You need to qualify for this Super League, and there's more money. They could have done it that way. They've done it the wrong way. I totally agree. It would have ruined the English game in certain aspects, because what was for them to continue playing in the Premier League, guaranteed that they're going to play in the Super League anyway. So it doesn't matter if they win or lose. So I totally get the whole competition, promotion, relegation thing. But for me, and nobody mentioned it anywhere, social media or on the news or any of these pundits, the English FA, their players, have created the greed that's there. That's why other countries can't compete with the English Premier League, because they've allowed these multi-millionaires. And if that's what we're going to do, when they start getting even more greedy, you have to take a wee bit of responsibility as well. And that's my opinion. It might not be everybody else's, but I think that's a fair statement, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think I expected it to fall flat on its face, to be honest. When I heard the news on Sunday, I didn't think it was going to happen I didn't maybe expect it to fall apart so quickly within 24 or 48 hours. But as you say, the FA have got to stand up now and this has got to be a warning shot to them in terms of you're on about like fitting proper tests for owners, and how these owners have got through. Obviously, listen, it's one of my mates says during the week. These owners, all their job is to make the club bigger and bigger and make more money. But I think you've also got to read the fans, because I think had they managed to get this through the net, if they'd managed to sneak this through the net and get it confirmed and get it in writing and make it in a way that the English FA couldn't do anything about it, then I think the fans maybe would have got on board eventually when they started playing teams like Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Milan. But at the same time, I think you've got to read the room, and you've got to know that the fans, especially British football fans, love their football. I saw a Chelsea fan, I think it was during the week, with a placard that says, "We want our windy nights in Stoke," and that's what football's all about. When you go to these weird grounds, and there's a kind of closer atmosphere, there's a more volatile atmosphere than maybe if you play at a big massive stadium like Celtic Park or Ibrox or Old Trafford or whatever. And I think they've just got to read the room and listen. They're full of apologies now because they've been caught out. As I put it to somebody during the week, it's like when a guy goes in to rob a bank and he thinks, if I get away with it, I'm going to be better off. But he gets caught and he's full of apologies and remorse, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I'll never do it again." You can't just go, "Aye, okay," and let him go. You've got to punish him. And these owners have to get punished in some way. I suggested a points deduction this season for the top six and really hit them in the pocket, because I think it would have probably only brought West Ham and Everton into a kind of sort of title race with Man City if that was the case. But as I say, obviously it's fallen flat in its face, and I don't think it's going to happen now. Then we had, I think on Thursday, the idea of a British league with Celtic and Rangers in the English top flight. I mean, I don't know if you're a fan of that, but I don't think it would be right either to get Celtic or Rangers down to the English top flight.
Originally I think I was talking to somebody, and I was like, and they says that they go for that, and I kind of agreed, because I thought, and it's living in that fantasy, the potential millions you could get, and a chance to prove ourselves through. You always get these fans feel like Crystal Palace telling Celtic and Rangers they're pubs teams. I'm like, you actually kidding me? So like you're Crystal Palace, So it'd be good, but sensibly thinking now, I don't really want to be in a British league as a Celtic fan. I'll be honest, and that's nothing, and against British people, but in a Scottish club with Irish roots, and I believe that's how we should stay in. And imagine we went and Celtic were the British champions. It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't seem right. But no, I believe that some of the other Scottish clubs are in favour of this, because it allows them more competition, more chances of Europe, but there'll be no money in Scottish football if Celtic Rangers left. Like, who's going to watch this? Apart from their fans, they're not all big, massive clubs. They can't compare to Celtic Rangers currently, never mind without them, they wouldn't. And then there was talk about a British Cup, which I thought, that would be actually quite good. I think you'd have to change part of that name, but, like a cup, and you play, so many Premiership teams went in, or whatever it would. And I think that would be quite good. It'd be quite interesting to replace the League Cups or something with that. Maybe a European place at stake, but,
I think in terms of a British league, as you say, I agree that you've got to maybe word it a wee bit carefully because of the Celtic support and large parts of Celtic support that are maybe from Ireland and that sort of thing. But part of me kind of would like it because, as you say, you want to prove everybody wrong. You want to prove everybody that you've got a good squad. You've got a squad that's... I mean, when Martin O'Neill was here, we were taking on teams in Europe like Liverpool and Blackburn, and even like, you know, when we were playing them in friendlies, we were beating them hands down. You know, I think we were unbeaten for years against the English sides, and that's the thing. You know, we've always had that kind of extra wee bit of grip, about us when we're playing English teams, and I don't see it happening, and purely because I think probably the Scottish FA wouldn't allow it unless they were getting a chunk of the money. But the league up here would die. You know, because
absolutely.
Sky wouldn't be interested. Nobody would sponsor it. And the only ones to kind of, I don't even want to say they would get an advantage, but like Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts, Motherwell maybe, that would be challenging for a title, where the money would be minimal. The status would be like, well, what's the point? You're only beating, you're not beating the best, so you can't really celebrate properly. I think it just would be a bad idea. A British Cup now, a British League Cup would be more up my street, because I think I've said for years that the English League Cup and Scottish League Cup needs revamped, and I think if you did a British Cup where, not necessarily just Scottish and English teams, but potentially inviting like teams from Northern Ireland into it as well, to make it a proper British Cup. And then what you do is you alternate the finals. So one year Wembley gets the final, the next year Hampden gets it, the following year maybe Croke Park or somewhere gets it. You know, I think that's more kind of that would be more feasible, more exciting, and you know, how amazing would it be to see maybe Celtic the Tottenham at Wembley in a cup final, or I know we've already beaten them at Wembley in a friendly tournament, so I was there that day in the Wembley Cup, but as I say, like I think it would just add a wee bit more excitement, a wee bit more pizzazz about it, and I think Sky would be all over it again.
Absolutely, they would be.
Whoever bid the most money, and I think that's possibly something that should be up for discussion. But in terms of Celtic and Rangers going to England to join a league, I don't see it happening unless we're going down to League One or League Two and trying to start from there and work our way up. And you see it every week in England, how hard it is in those lower leagues to get out. You know, there's teams say like Portsmouth and Charlton and Leeds United, who were in the Premier League for years and years. They get relegated and they fall through a trapdoor, and it takes them years and years to get back up again. So it's not just as easy as us saying, "Oh, aye, let's go down and play Notts County. Let's go down and play Salford, and let's beat them, and let's work our way through the league." So obviously you get more money, so you get better players in. But in terms of, I don't see it kind of working in terms of us having to leave the other Scottish teams behind. So unfortunately, I think it will just be another newspaper story that will die a death.
I think for me that it's just the whole tradition of Celtic, you know, and even Rangers fans, I think there'll be most of them will feel the same as well. And, you know, whatever anybody thinks, I think generally they'll think the same, and just the history and the tradition. What about all these, you know, trophies we've won domestically? Does that just go because we want more money and it comes down to greed? And I think the League Cup thing or something along those lines, people all over Europe would watch that if they watch the Premier League, and then you add in Celtic and Rangers and some obviously other teams. But my only worry with that is I hope some of the bigger teams don't, you know, I'll just put the, you know, the youth squad in or whatever, and they don't take it seriously. So but I think it'd be good, even if they do that, just to prove against some of the other teams, your Crystal Palace, Sheffield United, all these teams that, you know, got lots of history, but nowhere near the size of Celtic or Rangers. So we'd like to, you know, prove a point against them. So it'd be good. It'd be a good opportunity, I think, in the long run.
100%. Listen, guys, get involved, get the comments in. I know it's still lovely outside. I know it's still sunny outside. But even if you're out in the garden, get it on, get the live stream on, and get your comments in.
Definitely.
Did do the Who Am I? I'm just going to put another one up before we finish in about 15 minutes. So this is the second Who Am I I'm going to do. I was born in Sweden, April in 1977. I played nearly 250 times in the English top flight. I scored in consecutive FA Cup finals, and I made my Celtic debut in the Scottish Cup in January 2011. I don't know if you'll get that. There's no many Swedish players that's played for us, so you might be able to guess it with the age. But any idea on the other one, Paul?
So I was trying to think through the team, and then there's somebody I forgot, and it's terrible. O'Donnell.
Nope.
He played for Wednesday. Sure, maybe. Yeah, don't know.
Somebody else went there.
Yeah. See, I'm not cheating here. I'm trying to use my brain.
You can picture them if you picture Phil O'Donnell, you'll be able to picture this boy.
Yeah. So it's a bugbearer.
I'll give you his initials, SD.
How am I not getting this?
Chris Hinrati's just scored it, and Andy's actually got the second one.
Oh.
One of my favourite players growing up in the 90s.
Am I right? No. Donnelly?
Aye, Simon Donnelly.
Simon Donnelly. There you go. Oh my God.
He went down and he didn't play a lot of games for Sheffield Wednesday. He was injured a lot of time, but Simon Donnelly was the right answer. So we're going to leave the other one, the Swedish one, like you think about that. But transfer window, should they stay or should they go? Obviously, you got young Liam Shaw coming in from Sheffield Wednesday. That's pending kind of possible legal action. Patrick Klamala, obviously made his permanent move to New York Red Bulls, going over with, I think Ronnie Dyler's still over there as manager. We've talked about Aya and Kalmack and Eddie and Griff and Barkas and Christie. First of all, Liam Shaw, do you see him being another project at Celtic, or do you see him maybe going into this side?
I think it depends on the manager. I think, in Liam Shaw, I've watched, some YouTube videos about him, learned a wee bit about him, and, he's definitely a talent. And but I think to have no idea, or maybe they do have an idea who the manager is, but we still don't know who the manager is, and you get a player coming in, so a lot will depend on that manager. I just hope he doesn't come in, because I can see how good he is, and he's got a good reputation where he's at. And I hope he doesn't come in and just kind of get ruined. In a way that I feel Dembele, although he's very young, has not been ruined, so to speak, but he's not been given that chance. Considering Forrest has been out for most of the season, I think he should have had been in there from time to time. So I hope that doesn't happen to him. And also, it happened to Turnbull. He came in the season, wasn't getting a game, and then when he started coming in, pinpoint crosses, just changed, different level. So I just hope that that's not the case when he does come in, because I can see he's got a bit about him, a bit of talent, and maybe he will come in and maybe he'll go on loan somewhere, or maybe it is a development thing. But we don't even know who's going to be there that's in the team just now. So it's hard to say if somebody that is coming in potentially where they're going to go.
Aye, it certainly worries me that we're bringing in players that letting players go. We've got a full-time manager in charge. As I say, Patrick Klamala was the most recent one to leave this week. For me, he's a player that I think showed bundles of potential, just never got a proper run in the team. I think him and Griff could have been the partnership for next year if Eddie goes.
I totally believe that.
Against St Johnstone, where he got absolutely smashed in two, bounced back up and smashed the ball in the back of the net. Do you know what I mean? I think players like Klamala, he's showing a wee bit more bite than Albion Ayeti for me.
Yeah, no, and he went away, and he struggled at the early days in Celtic. Some will say throughout his time at Celtic, but he went away, worked hard, bulked up. He knew it was more physical than it was used to. And that for me was a telltale sign that he wanted to work for his place and get there. And I totally agree, him and Griffiths would work a treat together. But, he's away to New York, and, good luck to him. It's an exciting place to go. And, and I hope he does well. And to be fair to the guy, I seen a statement he done, and he was very, a lot of credit to Celtic and the players around him and the fans. So, and respect for him, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he actually signed at Polish Paddy. I wasn't sure if that was a wind up for some Celtic website, but
yeah,
I did see the statement as well, and I think totally kind of humble guy. He looked very, very shy, very kind of kept himself to himself. And listen, nobody knows what goes on behind the scenes at Celtic.
Absolutely.
I know we can all say, Klimala should have got a chance, and Vishin should have got a chance, and Dembele should be getting a chance, but you don't know until you see these guys in training. You don't know what's said behind closed doors. Ivan Toney said this week that he was up at Lennoxtown. Celtic weren't keen. This was a guy I think he's hit over 30 goals in the Championship, and about probably 10 or 12 assists. This is a guy that we could have got for 6 or 7 million. I think we should have pushed the boat out for Ivan Toney. Listen, there's no guarantee that he would have worked up here. He might have, like many other players from down south, might have went back with his tail between his legs. But in terms of Karamoko, it's been a dilemma that's kind of bugged Celtic for a couple of years now. And in terms of, I seen something yesterday. Now, everybody's saying I think his contract's up in the summer, but supposedly his contract isn't up until next summer, which gives Celtic a wee bit more breathing space and what they want to do with him, whether they want to get him in the team. Do you see him being in that team next year? Do you still think he's too lightweight? Do you think he's too short? And do you see him making it at Celtic?
I think he'll need to bulk up a wee bit in the years to come. I think that position's Forrest. I don't know how adaptable he is to come in and play maybe a number 10 role, or maybe I don't really know. But certainly on the right wing, I think that's Forrest's place. Forrest won't play for Celtic forever. You never know. He might be able to run down that wing and until he's 40. For all you know. But I think you need to get Dembele signed up. I think he could be. He knows the club. He knows everything in there, and I think he could be the future in there. Whether he wants to wait that long or not, but I think we need somebody in there. Obviously, keeping on top of Forrest, and pushing him, because that's been lacking for a while, to be honest. And to be fair to Forrest, he's come on leaps and bounds in the last few years and worked on his game and changed his game a wee bit. But I think Dembele's future should be at Celtic, but I think it will come down to Dembele, whether he wants to wait or. I would, if I can get him on a contract, send him out on loan next season, potentially as well, get him loads of game time, because he could easily go into some of the other clubs in the SPL and play every game, and I think that's what he needs.
Aye, I think personally, it's hard to say, because at the age he is, he's obviously 17, 18. He's not going to exactly grow much more in terms of the next few years. So he is the height that he is. I think he might need to kind of bulk up a wee bit in terms of if he's going to deal with the Premiership. But the games that I have seen him in, especially when he made his debut against Hearts, I think he bounced off of Aaron Hickey, or Aaron Hickey bounced off of him, I can't remember. But it just, if he gets fouled, it bounces back up. He's a wee buzz bomb. And I think if Celtic aren't going to use him next season, then, as you say, either farm him out on loan, get him a new contract, farm him out on loan, and try and work on it down the line. But if you're not got any plans to ever stick him in the team continuously, then just get rid, because there's no point in the boy. You're just going to ruin the boy's career if you keep him in there and just keep shifting him. I want to mention a couple of names just before we finish. Jesper Lindstrom. I name I threw at you beforehand. 21-year-old Danish 6 feet midfielder. He can play either centre mid or centre attacking mid. Came through the academy at Brøndby. This season he's got 10 goals in 25 games, 9 assists. Made his international debut in November there, and he scored 2 goals in 7 for the under-21s. Now, possibly we're talking a €5 or €6 million figure. Do you think that's a potential player that Celtic could be looking at?
So does he play for Brøndby? Is that right? Yeah, so you're thinking in terms of that league, comparing it to the quality in SPL. I think you'd probably say it's fairly similar. I think Celtic Rangers are better than those top teams in that league. But if you say it's pretty fair, then to get into double digits as a midfielder, I think is really really important. And if you can get 10 goals off one or two of your midfielders, that really helps you in the season. And we're missing that, and especially this season. But for you want your centre backs chipping in the 5, 6, 7 goals a season. Couple of your midfielders 10 each, and then your strikers working towards that 20-30 mark, and that's what you need to be champions. And the fact he's into double digits scoring, he's good, he's a big guy, he's got a funny nickname, but
he's Raphael.
yeah so he's but I was watching when you mentioned him, just a quick wee 3-minute YouTube video, and it looks decent, but I'd be lying if I knew too much about him. But in comparison, you're thinking, look at Rogic, and you're looking at this guy. He's battled in 10 goals. We should have sold Rogic for the money we got offered last year, but but everybody's had a bad season at Celtic, so I'm not singling anybody out.
Yeah, I mean, another player that was mentioned, Jonathan Cohen from
Maccabi.
Maccabi Haifa, 24-year-old Israeli, just over 6 feet as well. I've never heard of this. He can play in the left wing and the right wing, as well as through the middle and up front, apparently, according to Transfer Market. I don't know how feasible that is, but again, a good ratio. He's got 12 goals in 27 games this season, 5 assists. He's been capped 7 times for his country. Possibly a more feasible option at around 3 or 4 million euros.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Israeli players, and that doesn't mean none of them are good. Yeah. Like Beaton does his job, and to be fair to the guy, when he comes in, 9 times out of 10 he does what he needs to do, and but he doesn't do anything extra, and that kind of puts me off. Not that this guy's going to be the same, but I've again watched some YouTube videos of this guy, and to be fair, he looks very pacey, and good, and he's got double digits in goals as well, so it makes me think, but it's like everybody, it's a risk. If scouts are looking at these players, then hopefully they're looking at it for a reason. If Celtic scouts are looking at this player without any idea who the manager is, it's pretty bad in my eyes.
It's very, very strange if Celtic are looking at these players. I know it's just been kind of touted on a few Twitter pages that I've seen, a few Celtic Twitter pages that I've seen. So possibly, obviously, the worry would be that when you see how things worked out with Hatem El
Hamed, yeah.
I think in terms of settling in, I know Beaton's kind of settled in because he's been here long enough, but Hatem El Hamed didn't settle in great, and I don't know what the problem was, but obviously he was homesick and he went back to Israel pretty sharpish, so you just worry bringing in players like that, if not they would settle in quick enough. But as I say, we'll see, and we'll obviously see by next week, see if anybody else is kind of been touted for Celtic or not.
If you look at the money Celtic's took in for selling fullbacks, and we're sitting with 2 low knees in our team, it's ridiculous. 25 million for Kieran Tierney, and then El Hamed, obviously just goes as well. Frimpong, you're like, right, we've got Laxalt and Joe Kenny, like, yeah.
We're majorly short down those positions, kind of thing, and we definitely need to sort out those positions pretty shortish, rather than maybe a central midfielder. And obviously Scott Brown's going to leave a massive kind of void in that team. But as you say, maybe the defence is definitely more more important to kind of fill. But listen, we'll see what happens in the next week. Hopefully we'll have more info on the manager, on the players next week. Any ideas on the Who Am I player before we go?
See, I was thinking Lundberg.
Yep.
Is it? Yeah, is it?
Lundberg, yeah.
There you
go. I thought it was going to be a curveball because obviously he didn't play a lot of games for Celtic, but I thought a lot of people might have got it. Chris and Ratty got it straight away with the, don't know if it was the Sweden or the FA Cup finals, but I think he made a record. It was a record at the time that no player in 40 years had made consecutive FA Cup finals. But yeah, it was another disappointment. Went back doing his tail between his legs, you know, and I think he got the number 7 randomly. I think that was a curse.
That's right, yeah.
But as I say, guys, that's us came to the end the live stream. We will be back on Thursday with another one-to-one interview. I'm going to sort that out in the next couple of days, and I'll get the promo stuff done for the page. Just before we finish, let's see. So as I say, find us on Instagram and Facebook. Just search CFC Appreciation for Instagram. We're also on Spotify. Download the podcast, follow us. We'll be live on Spotify within the next hour once I get it all uploaded. We've got a couple of exciting names coming onto the page in the next few weeks as well, so stay tuned for that. And hopefully Paul will be able to do a few interviews as well for us and put his Piers Morgan kind of head on. As I say, it was a great interview on Thursday. We are in.
Really was.
Although I have to apologise, I did get his name wrong at the very start because I called him Aaron Campbell. I went to school with somebody called Aaron Campbell, and I think he kind of threw me the pronunciation of Aaron rather than Aaron. So as I say, I noticed that when I seen it back, but thankfully I never said anything. So, so as I say, we will be back next Saturday as well as this Thursday. Paul will be joining us. And hopefully we'll have a third body in to give some other opinions.
Yeah.
But as I say, Paul, thanks very much, mate. And well done on the. I believe you got the thing sorted for your wee boys football team.
So I got the sponsorship. We're still raising money just for equipment for them. They don't need too much, but a company came out and sponsored the shirts for us, which was massive. So, but we're still fundraising just for wee bits and bobs for them and costs of like taking them to away games and stuff. So yeah.
Well, the fund me page is on the page anyway, guys. If you want to, anything is welcome to help the boys out. But Paul, listen, I'll catch up with you during the week and we'll talk about what we want to talk about. Hopefully a new manager, hopefully some players. But thanks for joining us anyway, mate.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Right.